Hi guys, good evening. It's Susanna here, aka Zumblicious Sis, for those of you that don't know. I hope you're doing well and I hope you've had a good day. First of all, I just want to thank all of you who again took the time out to feedback, give me some really positive feedback from the last talk that I did. And I want to give a special shout out to Henry Wanya. Henry, I'm gonna say he's one of my cheerleaders. He's one of my cheerleaders. You know, sometimes I really do feel that Henry, you go over the top a little bit with all the praise, but you know something, I thank you so much for believing in me and all the positive um, words that you speak over me. I'm so thankful and so grateful, as I am to so many others of you who have reached out to me as you know, as I've been doing these videos. It was something that I really wanted to do for a long time, and you know, you get talking to people and people say, well, why don't you think about doing, have you ever thought about doing like videos or talks? And I just thought, you know something, I've just got to get on, I've just got to do it, stop procrastinating, just start it. And you know what it's like when you start something, you commit to it, you start it, and before you know it, you're there, you're doing it. It may not be perfect at the beginning. In actual fact, you know, I don't really want these talks to be polished, because these talks are really from the heart. So they're off the cuff, they're natural, as some people have fed back to me. So I don't want it to look, you know, as though it's being orchestrated. It really is from my heart, and want to share some stuff with you tonight. I've been thinking about the words that have been spoken over us, and so many people. I speak to people all the time, and they said, "Oh, you know, my mum used to say this to me, or my brother, or my uncle, or my aunt, or you know, there's someone that used to, or even someone that they worked with. You might even be in that situation currently, where there's somebody that you work with. Might even be a manager that you know never gives you any praise and is always very negative and critical of you. There's a saying that says it's not what they say about you that will defeat you, but it's what you say about you. That is what is actually going to defeat you, what you say about yourself. And I know, again, as women, this talk is not just for women, but you know, obviously I'm a woman, and I really I know what we're like. You know, we look in the mirror and we always say, oh, I wish this was this, I wish I looked like that, wish my hair was like this, wish my body looked like this, wish my hips were like this. I mean, even I do, because I was like, I wish I had bigger hips. You know, we're never completely satisfied with ourselves, and that's the truth. I was speaking to a work colleague today, and you know, she's like, you're absolutely right. You know, we're never completely satisfied. We always find something that to be critical of ourselves. And this talk that I want to do is really just to encourage us to really think about the words that we're speaking over ourselves. What is it that you're saying about yourself that is stunting, that's going to stunt your growth, stunt your progression? We need to change our speech in order to move forward. So, you know, so many of us, I'm putting my hand up because I know that I have been affected by things that other people have said about me, you know, things that I've heard or that they've said to me directly. You know, it has affected me. And, you know, I mean, who likes negative talk? No one does. And you don't like to hear that someone's been speaking badly of you, you know, especially if it's not true. You know, that is really, it's quite damaging, isn't it? It's quite disheartening, actually, to find out, especially when it's someone that you regard as a friend. That's even worse, to know that, they're actually talking about you behind your back. I mean, that's the worst feeling of all. So I know there's other people out there that will identify with this story that I really want to share with you. When people say positive things about us, we appreciate it, and then we remember it. I don't know how long we ponder. It does make us feel good. We ponder on it for a while, but when someone says something negative to us, that the impact of those negative words lasts so much longer, has a much more lasting effect on us than positive words. And if I'm wrong, you tell me. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And negative words and seem to stick with us a lot more than the positive things that people say. And it's easier for many people, and in my case, it's easier for me to receive negative criticism, although that sounds really crazy. When people praise me or say something really nice, I find it hard, actually, to really accept it and to grasp it. And sometimes I kind of like hunch up and like, oh, and I had to do this really silly voice. Oh, thank you so much. It's really stupid, this stupid voice, and I don't know where it comes from, but it comes from embarrassment, and also being unable to really embrace the positivity of somebody wants to give to me. And I want to talk to us today, really, to encourage us to think about how we speak about ourselves, or even how we think about ourselves as well. We need to begin to think about ourselves positively and in a good way. I really wanted to share a story with you, and it is from my childhood. It's 100% true. If you don't believe me, you can speak to my family, my brother, my mum. They'll be able to tell you that what I'm about to share with you is correct. When I was younger, I was deemed to be slow, actually. There's 5 years between my brother and I, and he appeared to be a lot brighter than myself. I'm not sure about that, actually. No, I'm joking. He is very intelligent. He's very intelligent. And my father thought that I was quite slow, and my sister, who used to teach my brother and I after school, she used to call me a dunce because I wasn't as quick. It would take me a bit longer to process information. Who doesn't? Not everyone's the same. We're not all the same, are we? We're all different. We compute things at different speeds. But I get there. I get there in the end. My father's nickname for me was actually handicap. That's what he used to call me. And I don't think that he realised the damaging lasting effect that it would actually have on my life. My sister thought it was absolutely hilarious because she had such a wicked sense of humour. We all did, actually. We'll take the mick out of each other. That's the way we were. So for her, it was absolutely hilarious that my father would call me a handicap, and it went on for many years, being a 6-year-old child, being called a handicap. It wasn't nice. It wasn't nice. And I mean, I did feel a way about it. When you're 6 years old, you don't quite know you can't really articulate the way in which you feel, but you just know how it made you feel. I know that when I was to hear that word, it didn't make me feel good, actually. It made me feel quite sad, because it just meant that I was less than my brother and my sister. I just wasn't the same. There was like something wrong with me. So, you know, and for him, actually, it was like a term of endearment, because he thought it was quite sweet to call me handicapped. Oh, you know, poor thing, you know, she's a bit slow. Oh, you know, come here, my little handicap. And it went on for many, many years. And I remember he used to get me down, even in my teenage years. The thought of it got me down. That word got me down, and you know, I lacked a lot of confidence. I mean, you see me now teaching class and whatever. I'm a completely different person than I used to be. I lacked a lot of confidence. I lacked a lot of self-esteem as a result of the labeling that he gave me. And I've got to say that it really was my faith that gave me the confidence that I have now, to know that actually, you know, that I am special, not as in special needs. Okay, I am special in the eyes of God, and you know, it really did help to lift me up out of that the darkness that I was in. And you know, it's quite cute the way that he used to speak to me. Come here, daddy Chuji is what he used to call me, my little handicap, and you know, tap me on the head and whatever and give me a cuddle. But the labeling in itself was not positive, and he really didn't have any idea how that negatively impact my life. And it's something that I carried for a really long time. And then I remember, you know, it was many, many years later that I became a manager, a day centre manager for the Caribbean elderly. And I went to visit my father one day, and I told him that I was the new manager for the day centre, and he didn't believe me. You know, he looked at me in like disbelief, as if to say, and he did say, "Oh, is it?" As if to say, "Are you sure? Are you kidding me here?" And you know, I responded by saying, "Yes, I am. I'm the new day centre manager." And you know, we kind of locked eyes. He stared at me for a while, because I think that he was actually waiting for me to start laughing, to break out into laughter, to say actually that I'm only joking. And I looked at him, you know, really seriously, and said to him, "I am the manager for the day centre." Just like that. And when he saw that I was really serious, you know, obviously then, you know, his little smirk on his face dropped, and he goes, "Oh." And I said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "And I wanted to know whether you would like to use its services, whether you'd like to start coming to the day centre. You know, you're living on your own, and it's nice for you to get together with other people of your age, and your culture. You know, you can reminisce over old times, etc." A lot of them actually were people that you know. So I think you would enjoy it. You know, I can arrange for you to be picked up, and you know, yeah. So that handicap, so-called handicap, you know, had the capacity to actually to manage and to manage a community project, and it is something that I did well, despite, you know, I won't go into all of that, but yes, you know, it really just showed that I was a capable individual, and I think he realised that. And you know, there are people, I wanted to thank some people actually who probably may not even see this video, but one of them is my manager, Phil Scholes. When I worked for Thames Water, he's a senior manager, and I was his PA, and he just allowed me to respond to write on his behalf and do what I felt was best. And that you know, he's someone that really put a lot of faith into me and really allowed me to come into my own, to be honest with you. And also Steve, I can't even remember his surname, that I used to work at PerkinElmer, and again he just allowed me just to get on and do stuff. He had full confidence in my ability, and these are people that really helped me to grow. And even Hamilton Walcott, and I'm sure Hamilton will actually get to see this video. I really want to thank you, Hamilton, personally, for helping me to really grow and to progress. And you know, I remember many years ago in church that you allowed me to speak, and it was something that it's not even something that I'm really comfortable in doing. And even now, if I can run away from it, then I will. But Hamilton had a lot of faith and confidence in me and allowed me to run a session on a weekend that he was holding. And you know, it helped me so much, and my brother, he helped me so much. And there's so many other people that growing up, I have to say that growing up in my 20s, and you know, brother's been there from day one, basically. Well, not quite day one, but he's been there from a long time, and he's always really encouraged me. You know, I just want to tell you that it's not what people say about you that will defeat you. You can't allow that. Although after the story that I've shared, you know, things that people do say about you can stunt your growth. It can take away your confidence, and it can affect your self-esteem, and it can really stop you from moving forward. You know, you just feel that you can't move anywhere because you almost become paralyzed, don't you? And you know, as my dad called me, a handicap. You can become handicapped because it becomes a stumbling block to you many times, you know, what people say. But the thing is what I said about myself, because when things began to go wrong in my life, I actually then rehearsed those words and actually bought into them and believed that it must be true. I must be handicapped. When things used to go wrong in my life, I used to think, well, I must be handicapped. There must be something wrong with me. You know, why all of this stuff happens. And so, as much as what had been said about me, you know, it had defeated me. And it's what I actually thought about myself that became the biggest defeat, or the biggest stumbling block in my life, because I just couldn't move on, couldn't progress, and I didn't have the confidence to really to step out and step over that labeling of being a handicap and thinking that something was wrong with me, you know, until later on. It was late 20s, really, that I have to say that I did find my confidence, and you know, basically broke that cycle, because sometimes we get into a cycle. It's a cycle of defeat where we just go round and round, and we allow the words and things that people have said and done to us to hold us captive. And there has to come a point in our lives where we decide, hey, you know, I'm going to let go of this. I'm going to be released from this. And that is what I had done. That, you know, I'd already freed myself from this label of being a handicap. Even when my dad saw me and saw that I was actually managing, I had already released myself, been released from that label, or from that, what would we say, like that box. And but you know, it was just really nice for him to actually see that I had really grown and developed and progressed, and I was no longer this handicap, as he so called me. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible, and it says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And that's the absolute truth. Whatever you think about yourself, okay, and you think about it in your heart, you ponder on it, that is who you are. You are what you say, and that is the truth. You are what you say. And you know, I listen to lots of motivational speakers speaking, and you know, one of the things that they always tell you, you've got to change your speech. You've got to change your mind. If you, your mindset has got to change. If you are to move forward, if there's to be any change in your life, you've got to change your speech. You've got to change the way in which you think. You've got to reprogram your mind to think of good things. You know, there's another scripture that says, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are honest, whatever things are of good report, think on these things. You've got to think on good things, really, in order to grow, and good things about yourself in order to grow and to develop. Because if you're not going to speak good things over you, how can you can't other people speaking good things over you? And I shared this in my last video. You know, that's all well and good, but you're not really going to move forward until you actually embrace what people are saying, and you know, you get that revelation for yourself. And then that way, once you've got that revelation, you can then get up and get moving. You know, so you are what you eat. I'm not talking about diet today, but you are what you eat, because what you eat is often can be a reflection of what you look like. Okay, not always, but sometimes. You are what you believe, and you are what you say. Okay, so believe, you are what you think, what you believe. That's your belief system. That's the way in which you're going to live your life, and that is the way in which you're going to, you whatever you do, you will do it according to what you believe. Do you understand? I hope this is really making sense to you. So, you know, your world and what you're doing is shaped by the words that you speak. You know, you shape your world and you shape your life. You'll shape your future by the words that you speak. And it's shaped by your thoughts, and also it'll be determined by your actions, and it's all based on what you think, isn't it? Whatever you think, that is what you're going to act out, really. So, you know, someone once said, you know, what are you feeding your mind with? And you know, the thing is, if you look at the books that people read, then that will often be a clear indication of what that person, tell you a lot about that person, what they're about. You know, if someone likes is it Danielle Steele and all of that kind of thing, that person could be quite a romantic. They love stories and whatever. They might be living, you know, in a fantasy, something that may never ever happen. But anyway, looking at the books that people read is a clear indication of what their mind actually feeds on, and you know, it will show you where their mind is at, and what they often think about in their life. In life, we've got to be intentional, and we have to make you know, a choice to do something different, to think differently. And this is a long one, sorry. So, you know, we need to think differently, act differently, speak differently, if you want something different for your life. So it's not what you say about you, it's not what others say about you that will defeat you. And in saying that, you know, people can say a lot of things about you, but if you don't take it on, then of course it can't defeat you. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's the moment that you actually believe what is being said about you, whether good or bad, yeah, it will have an impact on your life. But I'm focusing on the negative words. I mean, we live in such a negative world, negativity all around us. It's on the TV, it's everywhere we turn, there's negativity. And so we really don't need it in our life. We don't need it. So you need to feed on good things, positive things. And if people around you are being negative, just you need to come out of their company. If you've got friends that are negative all the time, you need to just remove yourself, because it's not healthy, it's not good for you. You're not going to progress, you're not going to move forward. So it's not ultimately what people say about you that will defeat you, but it's what you say about you that will defeat you. Because out of the abundance of your heart and your mind, your mouth will speak. So remember, you've got to speak good things and positive things. I hope this has been I hope you get something out of this video. I really wanted to do this to encourage you, and that you can see, you know, that yeah, I'm a completely different person to what I used to be, and I just really wanted to share a bit of my story. Guys, thank you so much again, and you know, feel free to feedback. I'll be more than happy to chat with you off camera, as they say. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day. Okay, bye.